Hey everyone. So I just had a conversation with a great friend of mine, and I was explaining to her how I recently started viewing my life through a brand new filter, which has been incredibly helpful to me. And this filter is viewing everything that I do through my core values and how they serve my values. So I'll sort of take a back track here and just sort of explain how I found my values, because I find that a lot of people's goals, in order to do what it is you want to do, you need to have goals. But one of the trickiest parts can actually be figuring out what your goals are. And the reason it's tricky is because you don't necessarily know what you want to do because you don't know yourself well enough. And I'm not trying to, say that people don't know themselves, because this applies as much to me as it applies to anybody. So I've been constantly searching for ways to try to understand myself better. And one of the ways, the most useful way that I've found to date, I think, is discovering my core values. So the way that I found this, and this is not, I didn't come up with this, I stole it from a bunch of great thinkers. And basically I made a list of moments in my life where I felt extremely alive and fulfilled. And I purged myself. I wrote as many of these moments down as I could. And then I started to dissect it, and I looked for patterns. I said, okay, is there any of these things that repeat? Are there any similarities between them? And indeed, I found a lot of patterns in these things. So I took these patterns and I tried to distill them down to as few things as possible. So in some cases it was like, oh, this made me feel really cool, or, oh, this boosted my ego, or this made me feel proud. So things like that I would distill into like, okay, some form of validation. And so I did that with a bunch of the different things. And then I did a second step where I tried to boil them down even further to as few words as possible. This whole process, it took about an hour, but it was also very inspiring, because what this allowed me to do, once I knew what these kind of key words were, it pointed me in the direction of what my values are. So for me, I forget the exact list, but I know that number one is human connection and intimacy. Number two is hard work and self-mastery. Public validation and social acceptance is definitely up there. Creative expression is there. Appreciation and creation of things of beauty. I forget some of the other ones. I can put them in the description below. But basically, now that I have this frame of reference, I can view everything that I do in my life as serving one of these values. So, for example, I'm at home. I just got back from a trip to Colombia, and one of the organizers asked me what prompted me to apply to go on that trip. And before, I was doing it subconsciously before, and I didn't actually have an answer for it until I discovered these values. It's funny that I did this process right before I went to Colombia. But now I know that the reason I applied to go to Colombia to be a part of this American Music Abroad program is I was serving the value, which is new experiences and growth, or learning. I forget exactly how I phrased it, but it's this idea that I want to try new things that I don't know about. Before my trip to Colombia, I knew nothing about South America, and I didn't have a particular interest in it, but I knew that I loved new things and learning and new experiences. And I knew that there was going to be, a couple dozen other artists, and I wanted to have that human connection with those artists. So I'm starting to see all of my decisions and all of my goals through the lens of serving my values. So maybe I'll create a document where kind of a template, that I'm a sucker for templates, so that you can just sort of fill it out and make it a process, because the better you understand yourself, the better you're able to navigate your life. Said someone whose life is kind of a hot mess, but also extremely structured, because my ADD would have taken over my life if I didn't have these structures in place. So I hope that's useful to you. If not, go about your business. But if it is, leave a reply below and let me know if you have any tips for way that this could be improved, this process. I really believe people need to steal like an artist. So steal my idea, improve it, let me know what works for you, what doesn't. And yeah, hope you let me know what your values are. Take care. Peace.